They are fully RGB lights. So what does that mean is that, oh my God. What's up friends, welcome back to The Nerdy Filmmaker. Today we are talking about the Nanlite Pavotube 30C. So this is a really nifty piece of lighting equipment. If you've never worked with tubes before, you'd be surprised at all the cool things you can do with this and ways it kind of introduces some new lighting techniques. So Nanlite started creating these more budget tubes compared to the Astera lighting tubes, which are really popular. And they have a range of tubes. So they have the 6C, the 15C, and the 30C. So the 30C is about 4 feet long. The 15C is 2 feet long. I forget how long the 6C is. But they've also released a new line of these called the X series, so not the C series. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get my hands on one of those and do a little comparison. But it doesn't matter because these are still super applicable to your filmmaking needs, and maybe you can get them at a pretty good discounted price. So what's nice about tube lighting is that it offers a bit more versatility than you would get from kind of some more traditional larger lighting, because they're really, really easy to hide. You can put them up on the ceiling to kind of like simulate overhead lamps and hallway lighting. You can hide them in the kitchen where you would normally have some fluorescent lights, let's say under some cabinets or under the stove. I've used them when I'm pressed up against the wall and I need some fill light coming from right next to me. You know, I had my camera here and I had this right next to me and it was offering a really nice fill light that I couldn't do with a traditional size light. So now let me tell you about the tubes themselves. They came in a pack of 2. You can get them as solos, you can get them in packs of 2 and packs of 4. So in color temperature mode, these lights can go from 2700 Kelvin all the way up to 6500 Kelvin. These are also full RGB lights, meaning that you can go into hue and saturation mode and recreate any color along the RGB spectrum. Now the battery life on these are actually really good. I ran both my tubes at 100% power at 4400 Kelvin, and the first tube lasted 2 hours and 20 minutes and the second one 2 hours and 27 minutes. So it's actually really good battery life if you are using these on set without direct power. And these lights can get quite bright. This is currently at 1% power. And so I'll just crank it up to 100% to take a look. Whoa! Blown away. The light does come with a series of different effects. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but you can see that they do come with some, like with cop car, and they come with, actually with a few different kinds of cop cars. You can actually switch this to double, and quint. I don't really quite know what the difference between all of these, but there you go. It has a few different things. It has the standard TV screen and candle light. All those kinds of effects are built into this light, and yeah, pretty nifty. So when you order a Pavotube, not only does it come with the tubes themselves and the power supply that, at least in my double kit, comes with a splitter that you can be charging both lights at once. They also come with these little brackets so you can slide the light in here, close it, lock it. And now this is what's going to attach to your light stand. When you attach it to a light stand, it's gonna be sitting horizontally. And so if you wanted to get them vertical, you're gonna have to be attaching it to a C-stand or maybe to like a magic arm or Israeli arm that can turn it on its side. Now, what do I love about these lights? Well, first off, they're extremely portable. They're light, they pack away into the bag really nicely, very compactly. There's no heavy ballast or anything like that comes with this because everything is built directly into it. Second is that they're very bright. Like I showed you before, at 100%, it can offer a lot of power. Brought down closer from 1 to 15%, it can offer some really nice fill light, hair light, or kicker, depending on how close it is to your subject. They are not very expensive when you compare it to something like the Astera tubes. These are like at a quarter of the price. I don't remember how much I paid for them, but the price has probably changed because the second version has come out. And so I'm gonna leave the current price on the screen right now. Nice. These are not about power, they're about creativity. And so the fact that they can hide in small spaces, especially if you have some of these smaller lights, because if you didn't want to get the 4 foot, but you want to get the 2 foot lights, those can fit in tighter spaces. And combining that also with the fact that these are fully RGB and it's really nice RGB as well, unlike some of the other LED lights that we've seen that really lose their quality at lower saturations, these really hold up. And because they're so light, there are other ways you can mount it other than using kind of the clamp that comes along with it, is that these are absolutely light enough to be zip tied or whatever up to some pipes on the ceiling or against something on the wall. And they're gonna hold just fine. Now, of course, there are some downsides to this light. First off is that at the time of this recording, there is no app to control this. That being said, there is a remote that goes along with this light that they released after the light was released. And so I'm gonna be ordering that remote and reviewing that in a future video, so stay tuned. And there's really only one more issue that I have with these lights, and it is a big one in terms of controls and something that they fixed on the next version of the light. So these knobs on the left are finite. They do kind of, they have an end if you rotate it to the left and they have an end if you rotate it to the right. So let's say I switch to hue saturation mode, and when I'm in this mode, one of the knobs is jumping around what I want to adjust, while the second knob is then to adjust that control. So let's say I've come over to the hue and saturation and I adjust this to 107. I use the second knob to jump over to the dimming controls, and I turn that up, and then I go back to the saturation because I want to adjust it slightly. Well, as soon as I touch this knob, which is the dimming knob or the controlling knob, it's going to jump to where the knob is now positioned, right? So it's drastically changed because that knob is now closer to the end, right? So if you want to make minute adjustments or large adjustments and go back and change other controls within that setting, it's going to jump around. So you kind of have to be really aware of what settings you're trying to get to. That wouldn't be a problem if they were buttons, let's say, or if the knobs didn't have a finite ending, if they were infinite knobs and they kind of kept turning. I don't know if those are the actual terms, infinite and finite knobs. Also, why am I saying finite and infinite? Finite, infinite. Shouldn't it be that? Or finite? That sounds terrible. I do know that I've rented these lights out before to a DP friend of mine who has absolutely loved them and really wants me to get the second gen one so that I can just give her these. We all know that's not gonna happen. I don't believe in gifting. You know what I mean? Like who's got time for that, right? But it has her seal of approval. It has a lot of other friends' seal of approval. It's a really, really great budget piece of lighting. Plus, who doesn't like these tube lights in the background when you're trying to do some fancy fashion shots? You know what I mean? People love that stuff. So that's it. That is my review of one of my favorite pieces of equipment, the Nanlite Pavotube 30C. If you like this video, throw me a like, throw me a subscribe. Why not? Or maybe you hated listening to me, in which case, I don't know. I was gonna say unsubscribe, but don't do that because I need your numbers. Off.